diplomatic efforts, are put into two segments. A, the segment who wants to be proactive, who wants to find a solution, and the segment who is interested only in regime change. Now, what we have called for from the very beginning is that, the regime or the Syrian government is strong. By the way, President Assad still commands a comfortable majority in Syria, according to a recent opinion poll conducted by YouGov Siraj. 55% of Syrians said they did not want him to go. Now, faced with that fact, you cannot force a whole country like Syria to change its president. So the only constructive way is to be proactive about it and say, okay, well, we have factions, and let's see how we can mediate, and let's see how we can guarantee that no more bloodshed, or little bloodshed only, is going to be allowed. So I think the Russian approach is basically the right one, because raising the finger or lecturing Syrians on how to conduct their business and how to go about running their business is not going to help at all. It is only when you mediate. I've heard opposition figures, key Syrian opposition figures, call for the entire opposition to go actually to Moscow and speak with the Russians. They have some concerns that if they go to Damascus and speak face-to-face with the Syrian government is going to stipulate certain conditions, and they would feel that they are in a better position to negotiate. So perhaps the Russians coming into the framework could allow the opposition to feel a little bit more secure that this is going to be a neutral ground, there is going to be a guarantor of negotiations, and things could work. Well, basically, the countries who have failed in their attempt to impose sanctions, to impose measures that could lead to foreign intervention in Syria, are going to continue, basically, with their efforts to undermine any diplomatic effort that is conducted either by the Syrian government or any diplomatic or political initiative that is set by the Syrian government, or any diplomatic effort that is set or launched by the Russian government. They want people on the ground in Syria to feel, the rebels in a sense, or those who have opposing the regime, to feel that the hope is still there that a foreign intervention or a military thing could actually happen, and that they are backed by the outside. And this could only lead to complicating the situation even more, actually. Why do I feel that what, sorry? Well, basically, according to the latest political initiative set by the president, launched by the president some 4 weeks ago, you cannot, basically Syrians, all Syrians, whether they support the government or they support the opposition, know that there are no way of going back to the pre-March 15th one-party rule situation. It's unpractical, and it's not going to happen, basically. So what you need to do is to bring people back from the streets. You have to give them something that they have, in their opinion, hard fought for, and they have to have some gain. And also those people who have stuck with the regime only for fear of the worse, but they also have some reservations about the current or the previous conduct of the regime, about some lack of democracy, lack of perhaps even some corruption. They also want to have some change, and you have to justify all these feelings. But the issue is that the regime is not going to go, for all sorts of subjective and objective reasons. The opposition does not form a credible and reliable substitute. What is being proposed to the people is very ambiguous. We don't know what sort of regime is going. Is it going to be a puppet government that is appointed by Riyadh or Ankara or even Doha? Or is it going to be an independent Syrian thing? Is the Syrian state going to be a secular state, as it is right now, where everybody feels that they are Syrian? Or is it going to be a religious state, where people would have to be identified according to their ethnicity or religious affiliation? So in a sense, these are all questions that have led some people who might not be happy with the policies of the current government to stick by the current government and say, well, this is the best option we have. And you have to appease those people later on by saying, well, we have made some significant change and things are not going to be going backwards again. So there is a new constitution, some multi-party elections, and so on and so forth, and people could actually have a platform to engage in a new political life in Syria. And that has to be not theoretical, that has to be very effective, and that has to be very real. And a superpower like Russia and China and some international community guaranteeing this could very much lead to people being convinced that this is a viable option. It's not only a facade that the government is only launching to keep itself in place. We need a transitional period where we need to incubate some opposition, because the Syrian opposition now is scattered amongst figures and people who do not have a specific objective. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.